Heya Cryptozens. Tonight's show: Senator Toomey blames the SEC. Axie Infinity CEO moved funds before announcing the hack. And FDIC Scolds Voyager issues clarification. It's 10 p.m. Pacific time. The date is July 29th, 2022. Welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter. My name is Nikodemus, and I will be your host. The cover model, mascot, and co-host for this podcast is Tex, and together we take a nightly look at the crypto, NFT, and metaverse space and the industry that surrounds it. And keep in mind, nothing in this show should ever be considered financial advice. Now, last night we were talking about Senator Sherrod Brown and how he was calling people on the carpet for their participation, or maybe their lack of participation, in keeping citizens safe from crypto fraud. And he was not gentle about it. Now, he put some blame on Google and Apple, sure, for their App Store policies, but most of the blame, it seemed like he was putting on the regulators. He was talking about the Voyager Celsius meltdown drama. And he said that regulators should, quote, do more to protect citizens. Senator Pat Toomey has also been busy. Now, he is very crypto-friendly. He's trying to do everything he can to help the industry out before he retires and leaves the Senate at the end of his term. And he is not a big fan of the regulation by enforcement scheme some claim that the Securities Exchange Commission to be operating under. Now, according to the senator, the SEC could have prevented the loss of $12 billion belonging to investors who deposited their money with Celsius. So a few days ago, July 26th, Toomey sent a letter to the SEC Chair Gary Gensler. And he told Chair Gensler, he said it was the SEC's inability or unwillingness to clarify how they would apply securities laws that was the problem. That the lack of regulatory clarity had undesirable consequences. He said, quote, companies could have adjusted product offerings accordingly, preventing investor losses today, and the SEC would have been free to focus enforcement efforts on the worst actors. Now, for one thing, Toomey says that the SEC didn't do a good job of explaining the Howey test and the Reeves test and how they applied to crypto lending products that promise interest to investors that deposit money with them. Now, instead, Toomey says, as many have, the SEC is choosing to regulate by selective enforcement. And where's that coming from? Coinbase. Remember that Coinbase employee, Wahi? He got picked up for insider trading. He'd tell his brother and his friend in advance what coins were going to be listed on Coinbase. Then they'd go and buy those coins and then sell them once the listing happened. Well, the SEC invited themselves along for that investigation. In fact, they set up their own parallel investigation into the Wahi brothers and their friend. As a result of that investigation, the SEC said, wait, these guys are trading securities. So he's saying the SEC already knew ahead of time that they considered those coins to be securities. Yet they didn't tell anybody beforehand. They just went straight to the enforcement action. That's a problem, according to Toomey, because their lack of clarity, combined with the glacial pace of enforcement, that hurts investors in innovation. So he's got 9 questions out to Chair Gensler, and he wants a response by August 9th. In the questions is a request for an explanation, because he wants to know why the SEC did not include 16 out of the 25 digital assets in the charges. It seems like he's basically asking, why are these 9 securities, but these 16 aren't? And why are you keeping this a secret? I'll be looking forward to hearing those answers. The rally continues. Just barely. At the time of writing, the global crypto market cap is $1.11 trillion. It's up 0.42% in 24. The top 5 cryptos by market cap are Bitcoin up 0.21%, Ethereum up 0.1%, Tether, USDC, and Binance Coin up 7.09%. So this comes to us from Bloomberg. Trung Nguyen is the CEO of Axie Infinity. Now, Bloomberg is saying that Nguyen moved $3 million worth of the AXS token hours before revealing the hack. Yeah, that's right. It looks like after the attack happened, but hours before announcing that the attack happened, co-founder and CEO Nguyen moved $3 million worth of Axie's native token. That $3 million worth of crypto went to Binance. Now, this gets kind of rabbit hole-ish, so bear with me. According to Bloomberg, there was an unusually large transaction that went through. This transaction was discovered on a YouTube channel named Asubs, and Asubs was the one to use on-chain forensics to trace that down. It was connected to a wallet connected to Nguyen. Now, they're the ones that gave the story to Bloomberg Businessweek, and Bloomberg Businessweek, in turn, took that data to Sky Mavis. Sky Mavis is the company behind Axie Infinity. So they went to Sky Mavis with an on-chain analysis and said, "What's up?" Sky Mavis did indeed confirm that the wallet had sent the $3 million in crypto to Binance, and that wallet belonged to Nguyen. Kelly Moore is spokesperson for Sky Mavis, and she said that they sent the funds to Binance for two reasons. One would be to provide the needed liquidity, and two would be to keep short sellers from front-running the news. She said, quote, "At the time, we, Sky Mavis, understood that our position and options would be better the more AXS that we had on Binance. This would give us the flexibility to pursue different options for securing the loans and capital required. The founding team chose to transfer it from this wallet to ensure that short sellers who track official Axie wallets would not be able to front-run the news." Now, this wasn't the only fund-related movements tracked by ASUPs at the time. There were other transfers from wallets believed to belong to Axie Infinity. That said, neither Sky Mavis or Kelly Moore confirmed that those wallets belonged to other Axie employees, which makes me wonder if those wallets did belong to other employees, but that they might be their personal wallets, like Nguyen's was, and not business. That's pure speculation, but it does make a degree of sense. So you might be wondering why people are upset. They're calling it insider trading. Sky Mavis froze user accounts. Those funds were locked up in-game, but his funds were outside of the game. They weren't locked up by Sky Mavis, so he was free to do whatever he wanted to with those funds. Now, for Nguyen's part, he's calling those terms both false and baseless, which is a tough position to take when the transfer did go through 3 hours before the hack was made public. That said, he denies the claims of insider trading. In fact, he points out that the affected users have already been made whole. The global NFT market cap is up 15.44%. Sales volume is down 3.61% in 24 hours. According to CoinMarketCap, the top 5 NFT collections by sales volume are Meebits, followed by Bored Apes, Otherdeed, CryptoPunks, and Moonbirds. Now keep in mind, some of these collections have very volatile prices, so do your own research. Okay, here's the TLDR on this one. If it's not a bank, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC, they're not protecting it. It doesn't matter if it looks like a bank, walks and talks like a bank. If it is not, in fact, a bank, the FDIC is, in fact, not covering it. Okay, here's what's going on. As we reported it here at the beginning of the month, on the 7th of July, because people are confused, the way Voyager was talking about their accounts was confusing people. Reading the company's advertisements have led some people to believe that their deposits with Voyager were protected by the FDIC in case of collapse. So Voyager has like $350 million put aside to make customers whole. It's what's called a for-benefit account. Now, what's relevant for our discussion here is that Voyager can't touch that directly. It's a pile of money sitting in an account at their Metropolitan Commercial Bank, and it's waiting for a day just like this. When bad things happen, this money is supposed to be there, and that account is indeed protected. At the time, Metropolitan put out a statement. See, customers were thinking that that meant that their money was protected in case Voyager went under, which was not the case at all. FDIC coverage is there in case the bank goes under, in case the bank goes bankrupt, not the customer. Metropolitan's post on their website said, quote, FDIC insurance coverage is available only to protect against the failure of Metropolitan Commercial Bank. FDIC insurance does not protect against the failure of Voyager, any act or omission of Voyager, or its employees, or the loss in value of cryptocurrency or other assets. You see, that insurance is there on the bank, not the customer of the bank. Now remember, there's $350 million in that account, and FDIC only provides $250,000 of coverage. That's because this is meant for families and maybe some small mom and pop corporations. It's not meant to bail out big, giant crypto exchanges, for example. As I reported at the time, the Feds said that they were going to take a look into the situation, and it appears that they did just that. And they brought a friend. I say that because just yesterday, the FDIC and the Federal Reserve put out a press release in the form of a letter, or at least their attorneys did. Addressed to Voyager Digital, they said that Voyager's communications around the Metropolitan Bank account were bad. They said, quote, these representations are false and misleading, and based on the information we have to date, it appears these representations likely misled and were relied upon by customers who place their funds with Voyager and do not have immediate access to their funds. Now, they say that Voyager, quote, made various representations online, including its website, mobile app, and social media accounts. Now, that made people think that Voyager was covered, that by extension, Voyager's customers would be covered, and that the FDIC protects customers against Voyager going under. They said that needs to stop. They expect Voyager to provide written confirmation that they understand the assignment, and they want a full list of any time that Voyager referenced the FDIC, and they want that list within 10 days. And from the Fed standpoint, even if Voyager complies in full, that doesn't give them a get-out-of-jail-free card. They may still take further action against Voyager. So now FDIC has put out a letter to their bank customers. Keep an eye on any crypto partners you have. Make sure they understand, quote, FDIC insurance does not protect a non-bank's customers against the default, insolvency, or bankruptcy of any non-bank entity, including crypto custodians, exchanges, brokers, wallet providers, or other entities that appear to mimic banks but are not. They say that if a bank is partnered up with another entity, there could be legal risks for the bank if the partner, quote, makes misrepresentations about the nature and scope of deposit insurance. They're making banks potentially responsible for their partners' claims. Quote, in their dealings with crypto companies, insured banks should confirm and monitor that these banks do not misrepresent the availability of deposit insurance in order to measure and control risks to the bank, and should take appropriate action to address such misrepresentations. And I think that's where we're going to leave it tonight. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I'll stop talking. You stay safe out there. Watch out for yourselves, but watch out for each other too. We'll see you tomorrow night.